Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. In our opening segment, we talked about Carolina and Clemson football and what lies ahead for them the rest of this season. Now we're talking about something involving the 2027 season. It's the chance that the Palmetto Bowl between the two in-state rivals could be played the Friday of Thanksgiving. Now, an assigned agreement between the two rivals states that the 2027 game in Columbia could be played either the Friday or Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. Now, the Palmetto Bowl has been played on the Saturday after Turkey Day since 2006. The move to Thanksgiving weekend took place when the college football schedule went from 11 to 12 regular season games. If they do play on Friday, it won't be the first time the rivalry showdown was played on a day other than Saturday. The first 57 meetings between the two were played on Thursday in Columbia during the week of the State Fair in October. The last Big Thursday game was played in 1959. Then they started alternating the game between the schools' stadiums. One advantage of playing on the Friday after Thanksgiving, increase in national television exposure. Fewer games are played on that day, and you could possibly have your game on in prime time. And there's always been an argument, how come this rivalry doesn't receive more attention? Well, it's because a lot of people aren't aware of it because of all the other big rivalry games that are played that weekend. So from that standpoint, it would help. Carmine, your thoughts on moving the game to Friday?
Yeah, I think like you very well explained there, Rick, the history of the game, and I think it's all going to come down to money, which is almost, the cause of a lot of decisions in this world, as we all know. Everybody watching this knows that. So I think wherever you can make the most money, which is going to be a lot having to do with the TV contracts, but here, as far as like our job, I would prefer it to be Saturday, and I think a lot of people in this state would probably prefer it to be on Saturday. I know the students would, because I have a couple interns here at Fox Carolina, and they're like, well, we have Thanksgiving break, and it's going to make it even more difficult to come back and attend the game in person. And for people who live in the state, that might be easier, but if you have alumni flying in and then it's family conflicts, just that one day is a big difference to try and get back for a Saturday rather than rushing it back for a Friday right after Thanksgiving. So I personally, for the scheduling of everybody involved to get there to the game, appreciate everything while having their family time, and for our benefit as well, covering the game and getting family time during Thanksgiving, which is a difficult balance, I prefer for it to be Saturday. But what about you, Kevin?
Yeah, this is a Saturday game, period, end of sentence. There should be no changing this at any point in the near future. And aside from all the scheduling stuff Carmine just mentioned, let's not forget the high school football playoffs are still going on at the time they play this Palmetto Bowl. And the Friday is usually the state semifinal. So there is more than enough football for us to worry about that Friday before the Palmetto Bowl gets played on that Saturday. So there's no reason to change this. Rick, you mentioned people are asking, why is this not a bigger rivalry, or why is it not nationally known as a bigger rivalry? It's because the teams haven't been as good. That's your main reason. This isn't Alabama and Auburn. This isn't Ohio State and Michigan. That's why it's not a bigger rivalry. It's because South Carolina and Clemson historically have not been as good as those teams, period. That's the main reason. Moving this game to Friday isn't going to fix that. Who normally plays on Black Friday? Do you guys know? No, you don't know, because nobody cares. It's a game we put on in the background while we get ready for high school football.
Right.
This rivalry week hasn't been the same since it was moved to Thanksgiving weekend. You look at the Tiger Burn here in Columbia. It's sparsely attended now because the students, a lot of them have already gone home for Thanksgiving. Cocky's funeral up in the upstate. You don't hear about that as much. Personally, I'm okay with it being played on Friday because here's why. Again, this is personally. It's the last time that I had a complete Thanksgiving holiday, Thanksgiving off Friday, then you've got Saturday and Sunday. It was 1986 because I've always had to cover high school football. We'll still have to cover high school football, but then I'm looking at it, hey, if the game is on Friday, well, gee whiz, I could have Saturday and Sunday off. Again, that's just, it's personal for me. But yeah, it will seem strange not having it played on Saturday. So what did the coaches think about it? Here's Shane and Dabo.
23 season, there was talk about us potentially doing that. There was talk about the possibility of that happening last year. So I know it's been something that has been talked about at different times. I know Dabo has talked about it, his feelings, my feelings. I always want to do what's best for the fans. I think it's great from an exposure standpoint because it would be the only game on. Everybody in the country was watching that Georgia Tech game last year that was on Friday night, including me, who stayed up way too late watching that game before a 12 noon kickoff at Clemson the next day. And I'm assuming our players were all up late. But you have the eyes of the country Friday night prime time. So there's a lot of positives from that standpoint.
I don't know. They've asked me about that here many times. I've always voted for it on Saturday here. That's my vote for a lot of reasons that I won't get back into. We just need to beat Duke this week. But if they want to move it, that's up to them.
So my takeaway from Shane and Dabo, they're pretty much indifferent. It seems like they're okay keeping it on Saturday, but like you said, Kevin, money talks. So we'll see how this all winds up.
Yeah, and Dabo's thought there, as far as just listening to the full press conference, when it's in Clemson, I know for a fact he wants to keep it on Saturday because of the business and all the benefits that brings to the tight-knit community of Clemson, the university, everybody tailgating, patronizing the stores, restaurants, all that. So, but he's a little more indifferent when it comes to Columbia. I know he's looking out for Tiger Town and their business, though, Kevin.
Yeah, the other thing is, don't forget that the NFL has now moved games onto Black Friday as well. So that's something else you're going to have to contend against in addition to other college football games and the NBA. If we're going to move the game, let's move it back to those Thursdays where we all started this rivalry and put it Thursday in October to start the state fair. Let's just make it a big hoopla like that, guys.
Oh, can you imagine the traffic during the state fair with Carolina-Clemson? I think not. Hey, but the Gamecocks, I actually covered a Thanksgiving game at Williams-Brice Stadium, 1990, after the Carolina-Clemson game. South Carolina played West Virginia. That was really weird as well. All right, we're going to take a quick time out, and we'll be right back with more of Palmetto Sports Daily.